What's going on today, guys? I know, good to hear from you too. I just want to say hello, check in on you guys. It's late Saturday evening, right around 10 o'clock. My wife's at work, kids are laying down, playing video games, and just kind of chilling out for the rest of the night. We just got back from a barbecue with some friends and family, and I figured why not turn the lights on of the little studio here and do a pocket dump and say hello. And we'll get into that bottle of Barolo in a little bit and, maybe do a podcast style thing. Nothing forced. I didn't write anything down. It just is what it is. Sometimes I go to make a 10-minute video and they turn out longer. So there it is. I am actually carrying my 204P Paramilitary 2, if we can focus. Again, bear with me. I upgraded my phone to the iPhone 10, and it looks like, what in the heck's, there we go. And then I use this other recording program, and maybe I should try the stock camera first. So far, the iPhone 10 is like, I've been living with it for about a week. It's a funny story. We'll get into it. Let me go over the gear first, and then I'll tell you the story as I uncork my bottle of Barolo here. So my headphones for now are just these little skull candies. I've been trying to get healthier. I haven't been trying. I've actually been doing it. Been eating better, and I've been tracking calories, and I've been trying to do anywhere from 12 miles a week on the treadmill to, I don't know, maybe 16, something like that. So I do 4-mile walk, jogs. It's like, it's not really a run. So the watch has been invaluable. Like, I thought that I would like the watch. And then when you actually get to track all your stuff and for fitness, when you actually start paying attention, not due to the watch, but it's a tool that you can use to achieve your goals. It's just one more thing to hold you accountable. So that's always a good thing, in my opinion. The wallet is a DOS Offenmere leather gun deck wallet, and I don't know, this is not a review for it, but this is a gun deck, but like a deluxe. We'll get into that. Again, I want to get into this bottle here. I want to shoot the shit with you guys a little bit and just say hello. Let you guys know up front, I've taken 0 notes. There's no preparation for this. These videos like this are more of stream of consciousness, and things hit me as I'm talking. So I want to really get into that bottle and show you the new wallets that he sent me. Again, we're not going to do a review on these wallets right now. This is just letting you know what's to come. And just shoot the shit, We will get a better look at this wallet in a second here. Now, this bottle of Barolo was like a little pat on the back from my work. They handed out about 3 of these a couple months ago for like a pat on the back, like an attaboy, good job, we see your hard work and you're doing well. Not like an employee of the month, not like you made the company the most money, but like, hey man, we see what you're doing over there and we appreciate it. So it feels good. I think these go around $30 to $40. It's a 2013 Barolo. I don't have much experience with Barolo, and I know I should probably sit on this bottle for 5 to 10 years in proper storage, but I just can't. I got to get into it. And, just being like it was a little kudos, a little like, attaboy, I guess you could say, is probably going to taste a little better. I really love going to work, and it just makes such a difference when you actually like what you do. It's like such a good career path for me personally, and I don't know, I feel very lucky, but again, it's not luck. It's like work hard and things fall in place, We're gonna pour just a little nip out of here, and we'll see what the notes are. I want to kind of let it breathe a little bit, but we should really give it a little bit of a taste fresh out of the glass bottle. Oh man. Lots of cherries, like red currant, a little bit of vanilla, a lot of oak. Wow, that's incredible. Incredible. A little spicy. Wow. Lots of cherry. Hits you right with the fruit punch right on that, right out the gate. All right. I'm not trying to get drunk tonight. Just set that over there. All right, so let's talk about this gun deck wallet. Again, this is not the review. I just wanted to give you a little preview of some things to come. That is a Hinder Investigator pen. I'm sure you guys already know that. So this is like a upgraded gun deck, and he still offers the regular gun deck, and I do highly recommend the regular gun deck wallet. This doesn't have just a single layer of stitching up the side here. It also has this stitching on the bottom and an extra flap of leather. Now, I really do like this wallet. I don't know if I like it more than the gun deck, but I like it just as much as the regular gun deck. It is just a little bit thicker because it has this extra piece of leather wrapped around it, but you get an extra storage. Well, I didn't really mean to do that. You get an extra storage pocket here for my business cards. I really like having them in their own spot, and I like this quick access, get right into it. And then it also has a quick access slot for your debit card or whatever you want to put in there, maybe your license, but I think most of us use our debit cards the most. So this wallet has really fell right into my everyday carry. I've been carrying it for about a month straight, and overall I do like it for my personal uses a little bit better than the original gun deck, and because of that extra slot. So again, not quite the review, but I like being able to carry this in my pocket, and when I go to give somebody a business card, I just pull it straight out and pull out a business card right there. When it comes time to pay for something, it just slides right out and I go to pay. This, not that it's hard, not that it's an inconvenience, but you have to open it up, and then usually on my quick slot here is where I had my debit card. But now I rarely open the wallet unless I need to get cash out. I like to keep my cash tucked inside that little flap there. And again, the regular gun deck wallet, if you do carry an investigator pen, I like to carry them like this. And then my titanium pen has a flat top tip on there, and I should really get another one for this. It just looks a little more tactical. It is a tactical pen, but if you're trying to dress up, you know, if you're trying to not get poked by that little pokey sharp thing, the flat top tip on the pen, I don't know why it's not coming off, but anyways, you can unscrew that and they make an actual flat top that you can get from Rick Hinder. So I like the extra protection that that provides. I think it's worth a little bit extra thickness. I guess I did just kind of review that wallet, but we'll do a real review. This is a topsider, a little bit different. You tuck your bills a long way in here, and then this folds over that way. And this is called the stitchless. Yeah, this is all going off memory. So this takes the minimalistic approach of the gun deck and even the topsider here. Well, I guess even more so because I didn't notice this has a row of stitching here too. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just one of the cool things about the design of the gun deck is it's only one row of stitching. and it's punched out of one sheet of leather. So this kind of takes that and simplifies it. Maybe simplifies it. Who knows? It's two pieces of leather, and then there's no stitching, and then it's one rivet through there. Again, I'm going to carry these other wallets, but I just loaded this one up first, and that's just the one that caught my eye. So I will get a review out on these guys, I promise you. I still have a couple more knives to show you and review, and just things that I really want to do. It's finding the time to do those. That is a really nice bottle of wine. Wow. There's things I want to do. Of course, I bought that little Honda Civic to do all my driving on. And I was in the fast lane. I wasn't in the fast lane. There was a truck pulling a trailer in the fast lane. There was a car right here in the middle lane, and then I was behind this car here. Trailer like blew a tire here. There's a truck pulling a trailer. He swerved across all three lanes of traffic. This car in front of me, let's say I'm the cork here. This car, to avoid the trailer that was sparking, I mean, like rim on the road and tire flying, the trailer cut across. This car slams on his brake. We were all going like 70 miles an hour. Slammed on his brake and turns into the slow lane, right? Down to about 20 miles an hour. And here I am at a safe distance, what I thought was a safe distance. Slammed on my brakes as well. At the time, I wasn't quite aware as my surrounding as I thought I always was, because I always like to try to leave myself an out, which is why I ride in the middle lane a lot, because I feel like I have a lot of freedom to go right or left. In case something does happen, I'm not up against a wall, or in case something does happen, I'm not over here on the side of the road, you know, because there always seems to be broken down cars or something. Be my luck, I'd be in the slow lane. And the slow lane for me is just not a comfortable lane to be in. I've got probably 1 million miles of professional driving experience. Been doing it for well over 10 years. And I really highly prefer the middle lane, and I always thought I was a safe driver. But here's what happened. When that car spiked its brakes from like 70 and swung into the slow lane, I locked my car up too. And I know from driving experience that you do not want to get a full lockup, because once you lose traction on the road, your car can actually go a little faster than if you were to pulse your brakes. Now, a lot of cars, newer cars nowadays, have the anti-lock brakes where they pulse it for you. But I pulsed my own brakes. I shifted. I've got a manual gearbox, went down to 4th gear to even try to get the transmission to brake it a little. And it all happened within like half a second. So trailer busted loose, come over, car swings in the slow lane like this, goes almost down to 20 miles an hour. I'm like this, pulsing brakes like this, and my front left hit his right rear bumper like that. We all pulled over and had the police report made and all that. And I kind of knew it was going to be my fault, just having experience in the collision business and just knowing how things are written. Technically, legally, I did not have control of my vehicle, even though realistically, I don't know who could have avoided that crash. Now, luckily, we opt to pay higher insurance throughout the year, so that way if something ever happens, well, we don't have to pay like a $2,000 premium. So not premium, deductible. So we have like a $250 deductible. The tough thing is my car was only worth about $5,000, and I've put on like 25,000 miles. So how much is a Honda Civic with some faded paint on the roof, very clean otherwise? How much is that worth with 175,000 miles on it? it's worth a lot to me. It's worth $5,000 to me because I know that it's a good car. I have put, 25,000 miles on it. I've had it on a lift. I've had my buddy look at it at the shop and see that there's no leaking. I know that the Honda Civics, people like to put the exhaust on them and the cold air intake and try to get a little more, balls to them. And this is an unmolested Honda Civic. So none of that Fast and Furious stuff has been done to this Civic. So it seems the transmission, my clutch, everything is nice and tight and still grabs underneath. There's no leaks. There's nothing that's like leaked onto other parts of the engine or the other parts of the suspension. It just seems like it's been well maintained its whole life. I guess the story was the car come from one of the sales guys' wife used to drive it until it got, they upgraded to something else. But pretty much it's a good car. So I hope that they don't total it. If you're not familiar with what that means, if it's a $5,000 vehicle and they start writing the estimate up to $3,500, maybe $3,000, they might start looking to total it depending on what the blue book is on it. But the tough thing is if they total it and they give you the cash money or a check or whatever for $4,000 or $4,500, now you got to go pay the vehicle off, whatever you owe on it, right? And then also try to go out and find another vehicle for that. So, and a good vehicle. And, it can be tough to find an older vehicle that's nice and clean and reliable. So, I really hope they don't total it. It's at the shop now, and we're waiting to hear back from them Monday. Again, today's Saturday. We dropped it off Friday. The accident happened Monday. It just sucks, because you feel like it really wasn't my fault, but it is deemed my fault. Now, the good news is, and maybe some of you guys have experience with this, we use State Farm. I've always heard State Farm is one of the better automotive insurance companies. And I know with my father being in the collision business, he had recommended, that they're one of the best that he has to work with whenever it comes to you repairing a car and you need a supplement. Supplement is you didn't realize that there was a brace behind the fender that was bent. Now you need to submit a supplement saying, hey, we need a little bit more money because this part was damaged that we didn't know was damaged. And they're usually better with stuff like that. So we'll see. Hopefully we're going to be okay. I hope they don't total my car. I really did like that little Honda. Thought about repairing it myself, but the truth is, with me in my truck, I've got a Hemi Dodge Ram quad cab with big mud grappler tires on it and stuff. It gets maybe 16 miles to the gallon. So it's costing me about $25 a day to go to work and do my job, to travel around and do what I need to do. So it's actually costing me money for the truck to sit there. So I'd rather a shop just do it and just pay the deductible, $250, and hopefully they can get it done within a week. I don't need the doors and the bumpers and all the stuff color matched. The car is a tool to me. I don't want it to look like a piece of garbage, but at the same time, if it can just be presentable, I'm happy, If the door's blue and the bumper's blue and they're just barely a little bit different, I don't need to spray into the door and then clear the door. Once you get all that paint time on it is when you might start looking to total the car. So I don't want the car to get totaled. Other than that, long story, but just getting some stuff off my chest. It just sucks, man. Be careful out there. I guess that's the moral of the story. Be careful, because I know everybody who thinks they drive safe probably drives like I do. Nobody there was being aggressive. Nobody was riding the other one's ass. We weren't texting, nothing like that. It was just a freak accident. The trailer blue tire cut across the lanes. Everybody stopped, and I couldn't stop my vehicle as fast as that guy could stop his. It was just weird. Like, how sometimes you get that fight or flight response with your heart and the adrenaline, and I didn't get any of that. I was so calm. It was amazing. And I kind of think that's because I have my health so much more under control now than I did 3 or 4 months ago. Shit, even a year ago. When I injured my back, I just kind of, well, I can't work out. Well, I can eat this, and I wasn't gaining any weight or anything. And then one thing leads to another, and you're back 25 pounds heavier than you was, and you're not eating right either. It's not just the weight. It's you not paying attention to the foods you're really eating, and you're eating inflammatory foods, and all of a sudden your mood's changing, and even though you have a good job and a wife and a kids and everything is going great, you just kind of feel like not quite yourself. It's like there's a fog over you or something. It's like you're not completely in control of, I wouldn't say your emotions, but you just don't feel great. So I've been really enjoying that. I'm eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. I apologize, not that many fruits. A lot of vegetables, a lot of salads. I've been doing something called intermittent fasting, where I will fast for 18 hours a day. And it sounds rough, but it's really not that rough. So I'll fast for 18 hours a day, and then I get to eat 6 hours a day. So what that actually amounts to is you stop eating right around 8 o'clock at night, and you don't have anything with calories in it. If you take vitamins, if you take your fish oil pills or anything like that, you do that after your meal around 8. Sometimes it's like 7:30. Sometimes it's 8:30. It doesn't have to be super strict or anything like that. But you stop eating around 8 o'clock, and then you can eat again the next day around 2 o'clock. And again, the nice thing about intermittent fasting that I have found is that you can really eat whatever you want. Now, normally I'll eat a really nutritious salad at my 2 o'clock meal. And I'm talking spinach, I'm talking tomatoes, I'm talking sweet peppers, I'm talking a jalapeno in there, beets, a couple grapes, some grape tomatoes, half an avocado, and a little bit of salad dressing. I will do something like some walnut berry vinaigrette, raspberry walnut vinaigrette or something like that. Or I'll do like balsamic vinaigrette, something like that. And pretty light, because all the stuff that's in the salad I really like. I do like those dried green peas with like the wasabi stuff on the outside of them. Instead of croutons, it gives you a little bit of crunch in the salad, a little bit of spice. I do some red kidney beans, I do garbanzo beans, and I do some black beans as well. I've done my research, and again, who knows what's what, but you don't want to get a lot of your protein from lentils, because they can actually block some of the zinc and iron that you need in your diet. So I usually get my protein from a little bit of beans. I mean, I like to put that fiber in there because that's what keeps you full, and it keeps you full for a lot longer. But at the same time, I don't get most of my protein from those beans. I just thought I should mention that because I was like, what? Wouldn't you think like beans, kidney beans, black beans, garbanzo beans would be super nutritious? And they are. You just can't do it in excess. So I've been eating a lot less red meat. Again, you just don't know who to trust, because there's a new thing like the carnivore diet where it's just red meat, because the animal that has that red meat came from is always like grass fed, and I can't really afford grass fed meat for every meal. But all that stuff does matter, and you just don't know who to believe. What the theory is that animal eats all the vegetables and all the stuff, and when you eat the meat, you're getting that nutritional content that they had. And then also when you go to a mostly meat diet, you slide into ketosis, and that means that your body is now ketone adapted, which means your body's actually burning the fat as fuel instead of burning the glucose, like the sugars, carbs, stuff like that for your energy. So I've been kind of playing a little bit, but I'm not keto adapted. I don't think I can ever have a strict diet like that. I've cut 10 pounds doing the intermittent fasting. 2 o'clock, I'll eat my salad. It's a pretty big salad. And then usually for dinner around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I'll have whatever I cook the kids. So it might be chicken and broccoli, or it might be broccoli and cheese. It might be eggs or whatever. Maybe we'll go out and we'll get a pizza. I'll still have a slice or two of pizza. The only difference is I won't have 4 slices of pizza. I'll have maybe 1 or 2 slices of pizza, and I'll also have another side salad with it. Or I'll have something else, some sort of side that's not terrible for you. So it still allows me to eat pretty much whatever I want. And then when you go down to 2 meals a day, it's a lot easier to stay under your calories. So I stay under around 1,500 calories. Sometimes I'll go up to about 2,000 calories, not real strict with it. It's a very easy to follow diet, maybe lifestyle, something like that. I think I'll be able to do it for a while. There is some research that shows maybe you shouldn't do it every single day like I've been doing, or you can do it every day. There's no, it's not like it's bad for you, but it may not burn fat as good as if you did it for 3 days out of the week. Now, why is that? Because you do actually slow down your metabolism. So if you have your body used to eating 1,500 calories a day, then your metabolism will slow down. It's just what the human body does. It'll slow down and get used to eating 1,500 calories. Usually after about, a few weeks or a month, you'll plateau and you'll be losing fat. And then all of a sudden you'll ride that where you're not losing fat anymore. Again, I'm no health expert, but I have cut 60 pounds in the past. It's not too hard. What I wanted to let you guys know, though, is that I've cut a lot of sugar out of my diet, like all of it. When you're fasting for that 18 hours, you can have black coffee. You can have like flavored seltzer water. Some people say you can have like diet energy drinks. Some people say you can have like Diet Coke and stuff like that. I don't mess around with none of those diet drinks on my fast. Now, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, I'll have a Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke. I don't really do Diet Pepsi. And I know that's terrible for you as well, but come on, you got to live too. And I could have the real drink, but I like the flavor of the diet drinks. I kind of grew up on them, and they're a little more fizzy to me. My wife hates the diet drinks. I kind of like it because nobody messes with my diet drinks. And when you've 4 kids and a wife and other people in and out of your house, if you have a Mountain Dew or something that you want that's yours in there, I can guarantee you when you want and you go get it, it's going to be gone, or it's going to be half drank or something. And there's something that's like, oh, this is 0 calories, so this is a little better than the 170 something that a Mountain Dew is. And all that high fructose corn syrup and stuff like that, and that stuff is garbage for you too. But I don't know what's worse. Who knows? So yeah, I've also found that just like making videos, and I heard this somewhere from a podcast, Joe Rogan had a doctor on, and I can't remember who or where it was, and this may be well known outside of his podcast, but he had somebody on who said that once you speak on the goals that you want to achieve, and again, it's probably not a bad idea to verbalize those goals and to tell a friend, hey, this is what I want to do, or announce, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And, but at the end of the day, talk is cheap. So I didn't want to make a video saying, hey, I'm going to start losing weight, because then I think that there's something where that kind of sabotages yourself. And that's what I was getting to. The doctor kind of mentioned that once you speak on your goals of what you want to do, you kind of get a little dopamine hit, and your brain kind of interprets that as you actually achieved some portion of that goal. So there's even more of a possibility that you won't achieve that goal. So what I'm saying is, I think that in a way, and I know this may sound a little silly, me saying, hey, I'm back to making videos. I'm going to try to make a video. And that's just a very small example of it. But I think something like that will actually sabotage you. And you're more likely to not reach that goal that you wanted to reach. And this may sound a little silly, but so I'm just pretty much going to stop making promises or speaking on goals and just do it. Now, that's not always true. You know, I've told people before, wanted to get back into the sales position and stuff, and as soon as it was going to become available, and just do it. Again, that kind of goes back to, there's probably a good balance in there somewhere between letting your goals be known, but also you don't need to tell everything. Do you know what I mean? It's like, maybe hold some things close. Maybe we overshare a lot. And I know some of us who are on Instagram a lot, or make YouTube videos, vlog videos, maybe super honest and open videos, you know, maybe have more of a problem with that type of stuff, you know. Also wanted to talk, I know I'm showing you this yo-yo here. I don't know what to do with my hands here. I didn't bring many knives down. You guys have already seen most of my collection. And, you know, if we wanted to talk more about knives, again, I feel like I could just ramble on and on. You guys already know I can go an hour plus with no notes, just kind of stream of consciousness type stuff here. But if we want to talk knives, and I kind of do want to get this off my chest, I also wanted to talk a little bit about mental health and about the current situation with Kate Spade taking her life, and with Anthony Bourdain, and it's a difficult thing. I have a couple thoughts on that, and maybe we'll get to it at the end of this video. But I'm just mentioning it because if I mention it here, maybe I'll be less likely to forget about it when I get to it. But first, I wanted to talk about knives. So, personally, Blade Show was, I know I said that wrong, but Blade Show was last weekend, and just me personally, I'm not seeing many things out of the knife community. Again, I'm a little bit jaded. That really excites me. Like, excites me enough to say, hey, I want to spend $300 on this new knife, or $500 on this new knife, or I want to check out this new knife. And I don't know if that's me just being a little bit jaded. I'm not burnt out of the hobby. I love picking out my knife I'm going to carry that day. 10 years ago, when I pulled out my knife and I got to cut whatever I was going to cut, and evaluate if it cut it right, evaluate how sharp the blade was, what the edge angle was it a polished edge, was it a toothy edge, what steel was it, does that steel like to be polished, does it like to be toothy, the blade grind on it, the ergonomics of the knife. I still love all that stuff. I absolutely, I'm fascinated by it. It's been years since I've took this knife in on a trade, however many years ago it was. You can see I've carried it and used it a lot. You can see all the scratches on the blade there. And I'm still absolutely fascinated with knives. Here's the rub. I'm not too fascinated with new knives. So where does that leave us for my YouTube channel? I don't quite know. There's still a lot of things that I want to do. There's modification stuff. There's still sharpening stuff. There's still knife testing stuff that I want to do. I set this little studio up in my shop to be able to do all that stuff nice and easy. I haven't really taken advantage of it. So I do need to do more of that. Again, speaking on your goals that you want to achieve later, I'm better off to not say any of that. But to kind of clue you guys in on where I'm at and what I want to do, it's just tough because am I still a review channel? I don't know. what's in a name anyways? You know what I mean? Like, does MTV still play music videos? I don't think they do. I haven't had cable in years. We haven't missed it, but and I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of struggling. I always feel like just do what got you to the dance. Do what your subscribers subscribe for. And I know I've already made a video on that, an hour-long video talking about I'm just going to do different fun things. And, you know, talk is cheap. But anyways, I'm pretty jaded. With the whole Blade show, I am not excited for most of those knives. There's a few that blew my mind. I think his name is Isham Blade Works or something like that. He is a younger man who's has some incredibly futuristic designs. He's got a new slip joint out. I think him and is it still Tough Thumbs or I don't know. They did a collaboration model. Maybe I'll link his Instagram below, but he's doing really cool things. I don't know how practical some of those knives are in the real world. But at the end of the day, even with that, I'm just not that excited to put out my own funds to grab those newer designs. Even steel, I don't think it's really made leaps and bounds, jumps and advancements to put out the money to go. And that's not me like not being interested in the knife hobby, because I am. I think it's more of me finding out who I am as a knife buyer and understanding what I wanted out of this knife hobby. I really feel like I have achieved most of what I set out to achieve. And it does feel good, you know. It feels good to know what I like. It feels good to see the newest, latest, and greatest release of the knives and be like, it's really cool. It's going to sell really well. It's going to make that company a lot of money. There's going to be a lot of hype around that knife, but it's just not for me. And going to bed completely knowing that I don't even want that newest and latest and greatest knife, you know? So that's probably not that great to have as a YouTube knife channel, but I will never fake content and fake, you know, just buy stuff to buy stuff if I'm not genuinely interested, or take in a knife of somebody else's and do the review on it just for content on the channel. My personal life is just too busy to be making content that I'm not 100% passionate about. So if I make a video or whatever, I don't know. I don't know where that leaves us for the future. I think most of you guys, especially if you're in on a 40-minute like podcast style video, are not just here for the knives. I do appreciate that. Again, it feels kind of cool to know that somebody values what you have to say on the world, and the world of knives. Who knows about the rest, but it's nice. It's really nice to just hang out with you guys and shoot the shit, just kind of get some stuff off my chest, you know? As far as, again, this is stream of consciousness type stuff, it's hard to deny what's happening in the news. It's hard to deny some of these celebrities at the top of the world, or so you would think, taking their own lives. You know, I guess I've been sad, but I don't know depression like where you could take your own life or to leave behind children or something like that. To me, it's hard to get in that type of mindset. It's sad that somebody could feel that that's the only way out, you know, to leave all that behind. Is it selfish? It's probably not going to be a super popular opinion. I think if you have children, yeah, in some way it is selfish. If you have grown children, yeah, it's still selfish, because there's people who do love you and care about you. But ultimately, if somebody is that desperate, it's just sad that they didn't reach out to get help, And if you're having suicidal thoughts or something like that, please reach out. Send me a message. Send me an email. It's JohnsonKnives@gmail.com. If for some reason in any way that we can talk or whatever, you know what I mean? And I know I'm not going to change the world. You know what I mean? But if you need an ear or somebody for some sort of advice, I'm here. And again, I have limited life experience. I'm only almost 36 years old. So, but I would certainly listen. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there's a lot of people like that in your life. Reach out. Reach out to your friend. Reach out to the suicide hotline or something. Something. Reach out. And I know life can suck. There are times where things just feel like they won't ever get better, And life is kind of like we all get these certain cards handed out to us when we start our life. Maybe our parents weren't around. Maybe they were around. Maybe we grew up poor. Maybe we grew up rich. Maybe we grew up rich and the nanny raised us and the nanny did bad things to us while we were children, or an uncle or an aunt or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah, some people have just a shit draw of the cards, and that's horrible. But I think that there is something too about you taking control of your life, you being in realization that you do have somewhat of a say-so on how you are going to live your life. You can have a say-so on how you allow other people to treat you. If you have an abusive partner, if you have somebody or friends who say, oh, you can't do that or whatever, and they don't think that you can do what you want to do, pending that you're not talking about wanting to go rob a bank. Do you know what I mean? Pending that you want to do something positive with your life. If you have naysayers in your life, get those people out of your life. If you have people for whatever reason are making you feel a certain way. I have a guy who calls me quite frequently. And every time he calls me, this may be a little bit of conflicting advice, but every time he calls me, it's to complain about his job. It's to complain about how so-and-so has treated him. He's the victim. I'm the victim. Don't you feel bad for me? Am I wrong for feeling this way? I don't know why I do this. And every time, in a very subtle way, I try to tell him, don't accept that type of behavior. Don't allow yourself to be treated that way. Go look for another job. If your job is giving you that much anxiety, that much stress, go find something else. I mean, there's a lot. My mother used to say there's nothing but air and opportunity. Now, that is true. It's also not true, but it is. I believe that you do have somewhat control of your life. There is a little bit of luck involved to getting everything down. And certainly I haven't figured out life. I'm 36 years old. I'm very happy with where I'm at, but I haven't figured everything out. And I don't think any of us have. If you have figured out, I think life would be super boring. You know what I mean? So I also think that I don't know if I've already said it, but if you don't allow yourself to be treated that way and you get out, you push those people out of your life, it may be a family member who you have to slowly push out. I don't know if you can say they're not part of your family, but you could certainly stop picking up their phone calls. And that's where I was going to say that maybe it's a little bit of conflicting interest, because I feel like maybe in some sort of way I'm trying to help this guy, the guy who calls me all the time and, oh, woe's me, I can't believe this sucks, I can't, it's not suicidal, anything like that, but I'm talking more in general. Like, it seems like he's unhappy with his life. He can't quit smoking. He smokes nonstop. drinks nonstop sugar, nonstop coffee all day long. You know, it's like get control of your life a little bit. He lives with his mother, you know. Get control. Get a little bit of discipline in your life. Maybe get off the sugar, because like how, I don't know if I said it earlier, but I do feel like a different person getting off the sugar. Getting off the sugar also allow me to not have those hunger swings like I used to. And again, I know that's related to what I was talking about way earlier. But your gut, there's a lot of research that's showing that your gut biome actually will affect your mood. Now, if you're taking in caffeine and sugar, and you're taking in high fructose corn syrup all day long, caffeine, cigarettes from the nicotine, who knows how many chemicals are in all that stuff. And again, I'm a big believer in live your life how you want to live it. If you want to drink Mountain Dew all day for every meal of your life, just understand that your teeth will be rotted out. Understand that it's not the best for your health. Understand that you might have heart palpitations later in life. Understand that there are going to be effects from you living your life that way, you know? But again, it's like just take control, take responsibility. I'm saying that my accident was my fault. I was not in control of my vehicle. I was making the video earlier to tell you guys, I know everybody thinks that they have a safe distance behind the car, but you probably don't. If that car went into the slow lane, spiked his brakes because there was an accident up here, could you really get your car safely slowed down and wherever it needs to be to not have a collision and not cause anything else behind you or to your side? Probably not. I don't know many people, and there's probably a bunch, but who wouldn't have gotten that accident. But you do have to accept responsibility in your life. I got out, immediately handed that guy who I hit the back of my insurance. Are you okay? Do we need to call an ambulance? No, I'm okay. We're going to call the police non-emergency number. Is he okay in the trailer? Is everybody okay? You know, and by the time it was over with, I knew that guy pretty well. Shook his hand. I knew that his son was having mental health problems, schizophrenia. I knew where he went to college at. He was an older gentleman too, almost 70 years old. I knew everything about the guy. It felt like I knew him my whole life. He knew a lot about me. And at the end of it, you know, I shook his hand. I'm like, I hate that we met this way, but it's good to meet you. We exchanged phone numbers and everything like that. I think that outcome would have been a lot different had I not accepted my responsibility and got out and said, what the hell are you doing? Why did you spike your brakes like that? Now you made me run into you, and all the attitudes come out flying, you know? And again, I think that's just accepting responsibility. Again, I'm not a perfect person by any means, but I think that situation could have went a lot differently had I been in a different state of mind, had I not accepted responsibility for that. You know, it's just tough. And you wonder what's going on in somebody's mind who is that desperate, where they didn't even reach out, where they hang themselves because that's the only way to get out. That's something entirely different. I understand that's not accepting responsibility. That may be accepting the ultimate amount of responsibility is taking your own life. Probably not. It's probably stupid to say that, but reach out. I think there's a lot of small changes and small corrections that you can make in your life, even if you are clinically depressed, to not get into a situation where you feel like suicide is your only option to get out. You know what I mean? Maybe a lot smaller adjustments and corrections throughout your life. Maybe a job's not treating you right, or maybe the people in your immediate life and you feel like those people have to be in my life. They don't have to be in your life. If it's your own mother or your father and then they're beating you down and you can't do this, you can't. I don't think there's many of those situations, but I'm sure that there is. Abusive person is an abusive person. You don't have to stand for it. There's ways to get out. It may not be easy. You may have to go through some shit. You may have to move in with a friend, or you may have to get 2 jobs and get another move out of state. You may have to not pick up those phone calls where those people are calling you. You may have to tell those people. This may be too personal. Maybe I shouldn't speak on it on camera. But I think maybe some people could learn from this. Again, this is just a personal example. I had somebody in my life who, a great person, they really were. And I truly in my heart felt like they wanted the best for me. They had my interest, my family, in the very best of interest. I mean, I believe that in any type of trouble I got into, this person would be there for me. And I still do believe that if I called this person today, they would be here for me. But this is just one personal example. This was at a very stressful point in my life where my children were all still very small. And they're small now. But 12, 11, 10, and 7 is a lot different than like 3 and like 6 and 8 or 7 or whatever the math works out to. When your children are very small, your wife is working opposite of your shift. You're getting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. There's very little sleep. There's very time for yourself. I mean, literally, it was hard to go to the bathroom at times. This person, again, was one of the very best for me. And this is when I was making YouTube videos. And again, I don't air most of this stuff. I know we're already an hour into this conversation. But this is just an example of sometimes you have to have those difficult conversations to say, hey, man, I can't do this anymore. So what I'm getting to is this friend, and I do say friend because I believe he wanted the very, very best for me. I hand wrote him a note one time because I couldn't respond to his text fast enough, and he thought I was ignoring him. And it was stressing me out that he thought I was ignoring him. He would call me, I wasn't able to pick up because I was at work. Or he would call me at night when I was already trying to go to bed. And, just kind of like being too good of a friend. And I know that sounds incredibly stupid. But he was maybe wanting too much out of me. And I hand wrote him a note. And we talked about it on the phone too as adults. And I just said, hey, man, I can't be this person who you want me to be right now. I love you like a brother. I absolutely do. And if I could help you, I would. There was nothing he needed from me at all. But I hand wrote him a note and said, hey, this is just too much. You're texting me and asking me more questions than my wife. And we're raising 4 children together. And she's working and I'm working. And you're just requiring more effort out of me than my wife that I'm married to. You're requiring as much effort as my children or more. And I can't do this anymore. I love you, but I can't do this. You know what I mean? So since that day, we've talked a few times and been very civil. And again, I believe that if I texted him, I believe when he sees this video, if he sees this video, I hope he does get in touch. And I hope he knows where I was coming from at that point in my life. But that was me taking control of my life, and not that he was adding too much extra stress or anything. But it is kind of stressful when you do care about somebody and you do want to respond back to their texts and stuff like that, but you just don't have the time to. When somebody says, hey, what's up? And you get that text, in the morning, and it's like, hey, not much. And then you start texting back and forth. Well, what do you think about this or that, or the new so-and-so, or hey, I'll call you later on my lunch break, blah, blah, blah. And it was so much effort at the time. And I know I sound like a whiny crybaby bitch. You know what I mean? He was just trying to be a good friend. What the hell's wrong with you? But at the same time, I think some of you guys can understand where I was coming from. Sometimes you do just have to take control of your life. And I think ultimate honesty, even if you're having feelings of suicidal thoughts, don't be afraid. Reach out to somebody. Reach out to a stranger. Hell, I probably don't know you. You know me a little bit, because I make these videos like this. But reach out to somebody. And maybe even somebody who you don't know. Maybe that's a better thing because there's no real pride. What does it matter what that person, maybe they'll have some words, or maybe they can encourage you somehow, or maybe they can say, hey, if I were you, maybe try this. Maybe try getting that person out of your life. Maybe try working out. I have noticed that since I've been running my 4 miles, I try to every day, but usually it's about 3 times a week. You can see where I did my walk today. 12,000 steps on my day off on a Saturday. Pretty good day, I've been eating right. Put good stuff into your body. If you're feeling depressed, try these things. I think that is a small little change. Eat the right things. I'm not necessarily saying you have to do intermittent fasting or you have to go ketosis and a keto diet or whatever diet. I'm not saying that. I'm saying eat real food. Change your gut biome. Maybe cut back on the sugar. Maybe take control of your life, accept a little bit of responsibility. And even if you're not depressed, if you're just a regular, oh, my life's pretty great. Maybe if you're not doing these things right now, maybe your life can be a little bit better down the road. And I know, I kind of hate making videos. I love making videos like this, but at the same time, I feel like a pompous ass, like saying, oh, I got life figured out, and this is what you guys need to do, because I don't have it completely figured out. I'm learning. I do celebrate life. I celebrate the challenges in life. I think once you get too comfortable, just the way the human mind works, I think that too comfortable is you feel very burnt out. If you don't have anything challenging you, if you're not pushing towards some sort of goal, maybe even a big goal, something that you don't even think is obtainable, I think that can add to your happiness in life, to your overall value of how you value your life. I think that you can do things that even you yourself don't think that you're able to do. And I know that sounds so cliche, but I have to tell you that 10 years ago, well, I guess I've had my YouTube channel for over 10 years now, but let's say 15 years ago, my biggest fear was public speaking. I was the quiet kid who sat in the back of class. I was the quiet kid who was okay with the attention being on me. And I'm still kind of like that. I'm okay with the attention being on me. I don't purposely run out and seek that attention. And I know that sounds bizarre when you're making a YouTube video. But I don't need that attention. But I was the quiet kid. Public speaking was when it was time to read out loud in class, my voice was shaking. It didn't help me at all. You would think, oh, you read a couple times out loud and you finally get it. I was a okay reader. I was in remedial reading for a year or two, something like that. And there's no shame in that. I needed that help, and I think that did help me. But funny enough, I love to read now. I've probably went through 7 or 8 books just this year, like big books like Stephen King, The Stand. But if you were to tell me that I had a YouTube channel where I would just turn on the camera and talk for an hour with no notes to potentially a few thousand people, no way. No way. And that's why I say life is kind of a journey. Well, not kind of, it is a journey. You will do things that you didn't even think you were going to do. You got to follow your heart. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that you're worth something, and reach out for that help if you feel you need it. And we all need help. We all need friends. Humans go crazy if you're put in solitary confinement. It's like a proven fact. Like, humans need other human interaction. Otherwise, it's not good for the human soul, heart, brain, whatever. You actually will go nuts. Excuse me. And sometimes you can break some circuits and you can't go back and repair those circuits. So, and I don't know what that had to do with anything, but just reach out. If you're feeling down and out, please, my email is JohnsonKnives@gmail.com. My Instagram is JohnsonKnives. At Instagram, maybe I'll put those links below. Leave a comment on this video. There's a lot of people who, even if you don't know it, they depend on you, they love you, and who actually do believe in you. They do believe you, but they also believe in you. There's people who around you, whether you know it or not, probably do want to see you succeed. But a lot of that journey is internal too. You need to figure out what you want to have success in, and then be able to work towards that thing to have success in it. You got to know what you want to be good at, and then you got to do things that will make you good at that. So if we wanted to relate it to knives, if you want to be a knife maker, right? If you want to be a winemaker, find somebody who you may look up to. Find Sale Glesser or whatever. And maybe you don't even have to talk to him, but start thinking, what does that winemaker do? What does Sale Glesser do in the morning? Does he get up and start drawing knives? Does he start making designs? Did he make custom knives at first? Does he take apart knives? Does he have a very solid physics and dimensional based, understanding of mechanical things? And then you got to start doing that stuff. If you want to be a knife maker, start doing knife maker shit. If you want to do if you want to be a winemaker, start doing winemaker shit. You got to start somewhere. Find that person who maybe you could look to. The person who handmade this yo-yo and turned it on a lathe. The person who handmade this wallet. His first wallet didn't look this good. His first wallet wasn't designed this good. Their first knives weren't this good. Their first Barolo was not like this. You've got to start somewhere. You got to make those mistakes. You got to believe in yourself. You got to say, hey, if so-and-so can do it, I can do it. I'm going to start doing stuff like they do. I'm going to get a grinder. I'm going to start grinding steel. I'm going to get G10 and start making handles for a knife. I'm going to start rounding spines here and there. I'm going to start taking the knives apart and understand it. I'm going to start sharpening my own knives. I'm going to do my research and see what the strengths and weaknesses are. I'm going to start designing knives on paper. They're going to look like crap. 95% of them are going to look like garbage. Start designing your wallet if you want to do leather work. Start figure out how to do a lathe. You can do this off of a drill press. Maybe not quite this accurate, but you can punch out and start. You can buy frozen concentrate grapes, and the wine's probably going to be garbage. But you know what? Maybe you'll make some wine. Maybe you'll learn something. Get a goal. Focus on something. Start doing stuff that thing, that maker, whatever you want to do. If you want to be a track star, find a track star that's really fast and start thinking, well, what do they do? Do they go on a run in the morning? Do they get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning? Do they go get in a 5K run before they go to work? That slim person, say you want to lose weight. What is that slim person? Find somebody who was heavy and got slim and find out what they did. Start doing some of that stuff. Don't keep doing the same thing and expect a change, because if you're doing the same thing, there's no change. You know what I mean? You can't keep doing and following this road when you say that your road that you want to be is over here. You can't keep going on that same path. Maybe this path, you're already on your journey. Maybe you want, like I thought I was on my path to be a knife maker. I really honestly thought that that's what I wanted to do. And then, there was kind of a fork in the road here. And I was like, weighed all the stuff and how my lifestyle and I want it to be. And I kind of went over this way. That doesn't mean I can't find a little side road and maybe build a little shed over here and start making knives while I'm still on this path. And maybe that shed will lead to another back road that goes over to this over here. And then I'm a full-time knife maker. Do you know what? I'm not saying that that's even what I want to do, but I'm saying get focused if you're not. This is mostly for the younger people who haven't quite have a direction in their life. Maybe for somebody who's feeling clinically depressed, I don't know if this can help you. That may be something that's going on chemically. That may be, but you need help. You need to reach out and understand that that's not the best option. It's an option. It's probably not the best option though. Because I think that there have been clinically depressed people, and I don't have any examples, but who have gone on to do great things in their life, who have touched many people's hearts, who, when they pass away from natural causes, are like, holy cow, that person had an incredible impact on the world, left behind a ton of memories, touched a ton of people's hearts, and have shared their knowledge, their personality with, because everybody's different, you know what I mean? And just, it's hard to put it into words, but please know that there's a better option. Reach out. Again, my email is JohnsonKnives@gmail.com. You got my Instagram, send me a DM, send me an email. If I didn't think I'd get a bunch of prank phone calls, I'd show you my business card. You'd have my personal phone number, but just get in touch if I can help you in any sort of way. Just know that there's people out there that love you, and not everybody's path is the same. You know, sometimes you got to go through some shit to be real happy. You got to understand what that side of the scale looks like to understand what that side of the scale looks like. Again, if your life is just great and grand and everything's perfect, you may not understand how good you actually got it if it's never felt the swing back on this side of things. You got to keep that scale balanced, you know what I mean? But at the same time, everybody wants to be on the positive side. We all do. Y'all want to have the very best and the most fun out of the life you can. But understand that that doesn't always happen. More times than not, it's not all rainbows, you know what I mean? It's like sometimes you got to go through some shit. And again, it's easy for me to talk. I've had a relatively good life. I think that's a lot to do with how I was raised, my outcome, how I look at the world, how I accept responsibility, how I say, I hit your car, here's my insurance. If you're okay, it's me looking. I have experience with automotive vehicles, 10 years of experience, more. Get underneath there and say, hey, your exhaust is kinked. Make sure when they check your exhaust to check your manifold up front. Now, they're probably going to do that anyways, but in case that guy didn't know, when I hit his back, his exhaust kinked up a little bit. Don't drive that too much because your car needs back pressure, but now with that kink in your pipe, the flow is not as good as it was. You have more back pressure. Your engine is not breathing as well as it should, and it could be dangerous to your, just go get your car checked out. I know it's on my insurance. That's why I have insurance. Get it checked out. Make sure they check your manifold because maybe something cracked up in your motor, even though I hit it in the back. You know what I mean? Because something could transfer along. It didn't look like it did, but check it out. It's accepting responsibility. It's also accepting that sometimes you have your heart set on this goal and life branches this way and it goes this way. And there's some big life changes. You know, that's life. You have to try to embrace it. Sometimes change, you know, if you're dealing with somebody who unexpectedly passes away or somebody who really does you dirty and stabs you in the back, that's going to happen. It happens to all of us. Try to move on, you know, try to figure out how to get over it if you can, you know. Something like a death is, when I give big general rants like this, it's easy to say some things and say, hey, you know, things will get better. Don't be depressed. But I know we have friends, a couple friends who have lost children, like small children. We've had people, one of our best friends had a teenager play the best football game of his life, high school football game, high school quarterback. Everybody loves him. He went to sleep, wasn't feeling well, and took 2 of his grandmother's pill on accident and didn't wake up. How do you ever get over that? You know, it's easy to say, hey, don't be depressed and this and that. Understand that there's extenuating circumstances that can change that. Understand that those people have gone on and lived their lives. They still are sad. They always have that in the back of their, you know, why. You do question why. I guess that's where some faith would come into it and stuff like that. If you're religious, you know, I'm not going to speak on any of that, but understand that it's easy to give big general advice. Understand that there's certain things that I've said here that maybe you could say, hey, well, if this and this happen, then it's going to be tough to overcome that. And it will. It absolutely will. But reach out, you know, talk to people, get friends, get good friends, still celebrate their lives, still talk about them all the time, still keep them in your memories. You know what I mean? And again, that's just dealing with a very tough situation. But it's easy to say, hey, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And then say, well, hey, you don't understand my situation. And I understand that there's probably an infinite amount of terrible situations like that where you could be like, hey, that doesn't really apply to me because this and this happened. And you could be right. But you still got to try, you know. Life is still a series of choices and compromises, and understand that there are repercussions for all of your decisions. Understand that a 2-second decision can change the rest of your life. Understand, you know, that there's sometimes it's not fair. You know, I shouldn't have been following that car as close, but and if the thing wouldn't have blown out, cut across all the traffic, I wouldn't have been in an accident. But shit happens, you know. Try to make lemonade. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm gonna get out of here. Gonna go lay down in my bed, maybe turn on my PlayStation, get this video posted up to you guys, let you know, thinking about you. If you want more of these podcast style videos, please leave your suggestions below on topics maybe you want me to hit. I don't know. I do feel like these are very open. They're very raw and uncut and just very personal, you know, and I hope you guys appreciate it because I really do feel like I kind of spill my guts out here for you. And for me too. It's good to have these thoughts out there. It's good to talk about stuff like this and just see, you know. I know as stupid as it is, like we did a blind tasting at our meeting the other day, and I got to take up everybody's numbers and do the average and see what wines came in first and what wines came in last. And again, you always think in a room full of like 50 people who some are somms and understand wine and the regions, and they know the individual blend, and they can pick out the Syrah from the cab. They can pick out the South African cab from the Napa cab. Like it was night and day, and you get a little intimidated, but it was kind of nice to, as like a litmus test, I got to average all their scores and and see that some of the wines that I liked, like they really liked as well, and some of the wines that I thought were very weak and maybe low body or just didn't represent the category very well, and maybe were watery, thin, just very generic, or maybe they should have had a little oak on them, but they're in stainless steel or whatever, and see what their notes were, and then get the average together. It was just kind of nice. What I'm saying is maybe a video like this kind of says, hey, I'm not the only one that's thinking this way. Or, hey, you know, so-and-so thought that this way too. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's cool. I watch, I listen to a lot of podcasts, longer podcasts. Like I will listen to 2-3 hour podcasts throughout the day. Joe Rogan's podcast and a few other podcasts. I do a lot of audiobooks and stuff like that. And I hope that that's the way that you guys are consuming a video like this. There wasn't a lot to show you here, about the first 2 minutes, and then you guys can log out and play it in the background while you're doing something else. But At any rate, I really do love hanging with you guys. I really have to do this more, not to speak out on my goals that I have in the future. But at the same time, I do. You know, it's hard to not, when you're excited for something, to let other people know that you're excited for something, you know. But let me know if you guys want any more on the intermittent fasting. Although I'm not the expert, there is tons of channels and there's tons of science behind it, and how fasting is actually pretty healthy for you, and the different ways to do it, because you may not want to do intermittent fasting every single day. You may want to do it 3 days. Keep your metabolism up, still going fast. Not fast, but like still moving quickly, your metabolism, not slow it down. Maybe lifting weights is better than cardio, you know, look into all that stuff for yourself. I've been doing a lot of fasted cardio. So I will do my 4-mile walk, jog. If you're wondering what I do, usually I'll turn the treadmill on 4, which is 4 miles per hour, and I will walk that extremely fast for about 2.5 miles or so, and then I'll flip it up to 6 and I'll jog the rest out. Depending on how I feel. Sometimes I'll bump it back down to 4, sometimes I'll bump it down to 3.5. You know, just changing up my heart rate. I've heard that that's good. I've heard that the best is actually do like sprints, do like a 30-second sprint and then slow it back down to a walk, and then do a 30-second sprint and then slow it back down. I haven't done any of that. I think that's like interval sprinting something. I don't know. But I do know that I feel so much better. I feel like I've had more energy than I've had in a long time. And I know part of that is due to my life situation now. I'm getting more sleep than I ever have. We're making more money than we ever had. I have more control over when I work, who I see. I have more control over the way my life is going than I've ever had in my life. And that helps with your mood, but it's also the food that you eat too. It's working out as well. It's if you're feeling those depression creep in, work out. That's the best thing you can do. Get friends, family, call somebody, hug somebody. Seriously, just get in touch with somebody. Work out, eat good food. And I mean good, like good green leafy salads. I don't mean like pizza. Just change things up. Because if you're depressed now and you keep doing the same thing that you're doing, you're going to still stay depressed. There's a very unlikely chance that things are going to get better if you keep doing the same things that you're doing. You know? I don't know. Hopefully there's a little bit of motivational speaker coming out of me. But I got to tell you guys, life is what you make of it for the most part. Happiness is mostly a choice. And it's not easy. Sometimes you do have to work. Sometimes you got to fake those smiles. And you know what? By the end of the day, those fake smiles will turn into real smiles. Sometimes you fake liking somebody to realize, hey, that person's not so bad. And you know, they do have a different view than me. But overall, they're a good person. And you can really make some good friends, you know. If you have to push people away, if you have to be completely honest with somebody, write them a handwritten note and mail it to them and say, hey, I love you, but I can't do this anymore. You may have to do that. It's not comfortable. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do, you know? All right. I've went on way longer than I thought I was going to. I love you guys. Have a good day. Hopefully some of you guys will find this useful. That's it. I was going to put a code word here to see who got at the end, but I don't think we need to do that. You know, it doesn't really matter. I make these videos just as much for me to verbalize this stuff and how I'm feeling as much as I do for you guys. So that's it. We'll see you guys. Have a good one.